I am Katrina Jones, Prosperity Life Coach of SatariSelfCareInstitute, coming back to you with a self-care moment. Today I want to talk about generational curses. Have you ever heard the term sins of the father? What do you think they're talking about? Well, it is my opinion and my understanding that sins are of the father, though those secrets, they're secrets that nobody wants to talk about. They are negative behaviors that are allowed to go on without being checked. And what happens is that as children, we grow up around these negative behaviors and we incorporate them into our lifestyle, thinking that it's normal, or even maybe knowing that it's not normal, but it's what we've learned, it's what we know. And so we pass these sins or these characteristics or these traits down to our children, and so on and so on and so on. I was speaking to one of my best friends. She is my sister in love. And we were talking, and I said to her, you know, it has taken me to be 50 plus years old in order to really see the outer beauty that I possess. And the reason why is because as a child, I was never validated. I was never told how pretty I was, how smart I was, how kind I was, how helpful I was, how loving I was. I was never given those affirmations. But I was around a lot of negativity, around a lot of anger, around a lot of pain. And, you know, that's what I knew. Pain, anger, negativity. And as an adult, I began to change, but my self-image was distorted and had been distorted for many years, and it reminded me of someone who's anorexic, who is very skinny because they're not eating, but yet when they look in the mirror, all they see is this image of this fat person. It's not true, but that's their distorted perception of themselves. And that's how it can be when we are affected by generational sins, and you know, we don't talk about it and we don't work on ourselves. You know, we don't admit how it has affected us and how it has affected our families, if we have families, and we don't work on ways to change those behaviors. We continue the process. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what I call sins of the father. Incest, which is so huge in families, and it's this elephant in the living room that everybody knows exists, but nobody wants to talk about. It can keep us stuck, and if we are affected by incest or abuse, it could be physical abuse, it could be sexual abuse, it could be spiritual abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse. Over time, our image becomes distorted of who we are, and we begin to believe the stories that are given to us that aren't true. Another generational sin could be infidelity. If my father was unfaithful to my mother, I may end up marrying a man who's unfaithful to me, because the story that I've learned is that this is how men treat women. Or if I'm a man who grew up around infidelity, or maybe didn't even have a proper role model, male role model, maybe that male learns that this is the way you do it. Infidelity is just a normal lifestyle. Another, what I call generational sin, can be using words, using negative words, never seeing the good or the positive in someone, always seeing what's wrong, never being able to see what's right with a person, especially with a child. You never do anything right. You'll never amount to anything. And sometimes if you've grown up in that type of environment, it's so ingrained that we do it. We take jabs at ourselves and even at others without even recognizing that that's what they're doing. It could be as subtle as seeing somebody that's losing weight and saying something like, oh, so you think you hot stuff now that you're losing weight. Instead of being able to give a compliment such as, you look really nice. You're losing weight. I see it. I'm proud of you. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. It's working. Using negative words. And I'm going to talk more. I'm going to do a session about the power of words and how words can be weapons that we use against ourselves and others. So what are some of the generational sins of the father that run in your family that keep you bound and stuck? What do you need to work on in order to break those curses? Important question. It can be rhetorical, which means you don't have to respond you don't have to respond in the comments, but this is something to really think about, because life is about being healthy. Life is about being happy. Life is about living it to the best of our abilities. And it's really difficult to do that when we're stuck, when we have issues that we are holding inside of us and we're not talking about. This is my gratitude clicker or counter, and this is one tool that I use to keep me grounded in how good I am, how blessed I am. Keeps me grounded in how peaceful I am, how much I love myself, how much I love and honor others around me, how grateful I am for all that I have, how grateful I am for all that God is going to be bringing and the universe is going to be bringing into my life. This is just one way that I keep count of my gratitude. And gratitude is one way that we can begin to deal with the sins of the father. And being willing to work on self, to figure out what am I doing, or what can I do differently? And if it's not me, if I'm affected by sins of the father, being honest about how has this affected me? And what do I need to do in order to be healthier, to be happier? Because many people stay stuck and are so unhealthy. They are so unhappy, so miserable. And life is just too short to be unhappy, to be miserable. Taking care of yourself when you're dealing with sins of the father or generational curses could require counseling. Going to a licensed counselor, therapist, and being able to talk about your issues and deal with them, because it's painful. I've dealt with a lot of my generational curses in my family. I've been able to break a lot of generational curses that they didn't go on to my family. Some curses I wasn't able to break, and my children suffered some of the curses that I suffered. Abuse, especially sexual abuse, incest. I am working to break the generational curses of my family, and my children are doing a better job of breaking the curses, the generational curses, so that their children don't have to deal with it. But it starts with being open, being honest, and being real that it exists, and then dealing with it. It could be coaching, getting coaching. It could be talking to somebody that you trust. But whatever it is, you owe it to yourself to deal with your issues, so that we can begin to eliminate these generational curses that cause unhappiness, or that cause us to be stuck. I am Katrina Jones, Prosperity Life Coach of SatariSelfCareInstitute. blessing you with peace, love, and all the good that life has to offer. Bless.